things are not going well at OU. Well, as soon as I posted my video, within 48 hours I had 1,000 friend requests from former students over 30 years. And people I taught with or you're just friends. And so now I'm looking at my feed like, wow, things are really bad back home at OU. This is really sad. So I started, thought, well, maybe I can get on Facebook and try to encourage people to rally around the kids, and we kind of shifted that narrative a little bit that way. And got, it sort of empowered the silent, positive people to speak up, because it wasn't just the negative people yelling the loudest, which taught me a lesson, because 3 months later, I was asked to come back, and I went back to OU to be the band director. And I realized I need to use this tool so that everyone knows, if you want to know what's going on with OU band, look at my page. Don't believe what anyone else says, because I'm there every day working with these kids, and here's the great news about what's going on. So that taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of acknowledging the students' efforts, their progress, acknowledging things that could go better, but also encouraging other people to support what we're doing and around, especially as we made that transition. Leading up to the first game that we had after I came back, we had 2 weeks, we had an off week and an away game, and then we were going to perform. So that week before, I would post like little video clips about what we were doing and just heap praise on these kids that desperately needed it because they had been embarrassed for 2 years about how they looked and sounded and were subject to ridicule. So we did that and just kind of created, everybody come to the pregame concert. Please be there for the first time pregame. These kids need your support. And when they came out of the tunnel for that first pregame, it was deafening. You know, and the stadium was probably 60% full. Everybody in that stadium was yelling, "Why is it good for those kids?" And that showed me the power of social media for good versus for bad. Because I think the downside is it gives an immediate, unquestioned platform for people to spread hate. And so those of us that know better have to speak up. Yes?
How important is classroom management, and how do you implement that to have a smooth learning program?
Classroom management, I think the best form of classroom management is student engagement. If the kids have stuff to do and your pacing is good, you will have great classroom management. Where you have bad classroom management is where you're not able to meet the kids where they are with what they need, and they either become disinterested, like your smart kids become disinterested because it's going too slowly. Your weaker kids that don't want to be sad because they can't do it become angry instead because those emotions are really close, but anger gives you the illusion of control. Right? I'm not sad, I'm going to be mad instead. So what you have to do is figure out, you got the 80% of your kids in the middle, what can this 80% do? Can I add a little something for the top 10% so that they feel engaged? Maybe have them model. And I'm going to have them play, I'm going to have this kid play the first 4 measures for us, and then we'll all respond and match what they're doing. That way I can give them a chance to model. And then you've got the bottom 10%, you know, where are you going to stop and help them for 30 seconds, give them a little extra attention so that when you do the next thing with everybody, they're maybe not getting it 100%, but they're at least improving. So I think most of the classroom management problems I see with younger teachers, they just have a wrong plan. And think about Shamu. Anybody ever see Shamu or see video of Shamu jump over the rope like 20 feet in the air? When Shamu was a baby, they started with the rope on the bottom of the pool and made him aware that he was swimming over the rope. Like, hey, I swam over the rope, I got food, awesome. Right, so they raised it up like 5 feet, he's swimming around under the rope. Not getting any treats. You know, it's kind of getting action, like, come on. And finally, I go over and I get the treats. So then they put it up at the surface of the water, and it took him a couple hours to finally figure out who's going to have to go out of the water. Once he did that one, it was like bam, 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 20 feet in the air. It's the same thing with teaching kids. I mean, we all want them to end up here, and we start here, we think we've really compromised. If they're here, go get them. It may take more reps, but if every rep they're getting better, that creates momentum and excitement in the classroom. They're not going to be bored. What usually happens is the teacher says, well, my kids will never. What that means is, it bores me to do this as a teacher. You don't get to be bored. Just remember, they're paying you to be here. You know, and so you can act like you're not bored. And really, if you see a kid getting better, that's never boring to me. I I love doing that. Plus it freaks them out. Yes?
Oh, you have to for advice in your first year.
Tips or advice on the first year of the job. Remember, every day is a new day. That first year, when you get to your second year, you will have done everything once. You're not going to get that opportunity your first year. And that's going to beat you down at times. Of like, when will I ever figure all this out? Because it's like this giant through-composed piece that you never get back to the A theme until the next year. So what you just have to do, I think, is just every day. I know what I did my first year was I had a legal pad, back when we used to use those, and I put a line down the middle. It's like, here's everything that I did well today. Here's everything I wish could have gone better. And here's what I'm going to do about it. And just be objectively honest with yourself as you reflect on that. Don't take it personally. And the other thing I would say is find a mentor, somebody you can talk to. Have somebody that's a master teacher that's older, but also have somebody that's maybe done it 3 years, so that it's still really fresh in their mind. Because if they're still in it in year 3 and 4, they figured it out, and they'll be able to give you some really valuable advice. Yes.
I guess the basic question is, do you need to stay in the same state to teach where you got your education?
You don't have to. I mean, I got my education, both my degrees from OU, and I taught 12 years in Texas at all levels. I think what's harder when you go somewhere else, I mean, you have to build relationships and trust, because if a fine arts director is looking at a stack of resumes and they don't know you, there's a lot of pressure as a fine arts administrator to make good hires. And so the first screen is, do I know these people? Okay. Of the ones that I know, then you go through the qualifications. Do you know their background? You know where they went to school. If they at least know your school, you may stay in the staff. So that's helpful. If they know who you student talk with. But I think the key is you've got to find ways to develop relationships. Maybe go to clinics and things in other states. Because there's basically 3 levels of hiring, or it's like 3 movements. Like in April, when the people that have been doing it as long as I have, they finish their contracts, like, that's it, I'm out, I'm retiring. All right, so all those jobs open up and then people move. Well, then the people that left those jobs open up. All right, and so then that job there's gonna be a mix of experienced people and some first-year people that'll get those jobs. Then you get in the middle, late part of the summer, and somebody that wasn't thinking about retiring, as they start to prepare for camp, they're like, I can't do this anymore with that. Or, hey, I'm gonna have a baby. Or my husband got transferred, my wife got transferred, we're moving. And then there's a lot of first-year teachers, or maybe people from out of state that you wouldn't have hired on the first go around because the pool's smaller. So it's just a game, and you've got to be aware of how that hiring season works, so that you don't get frustrated. You just have to keep putting yourself out there. Yes.
Do you have any advice ways to keep students engaged in the program?
As far as like keeping them from leaving.
Well, I think I mean more along the lines of, like, what if it's a hot day outside and you watch an person for 2 hours? How do you keep them engaged and wanting to work for you to get done for you and else?
Sure. I think you go back to those first couple of questions. Do you care about me? Well, if you care about me, you're not going to have me standing out in direct sunlight for an hour and a half with a thimble of water, right? So, like for instance, like with us, we had an amazingly hot September. In the first couple weeks of school, it was 100 degrees. We rehearsed 4:30 to 6:30, and it was 100 degrees or more the entirety of our rehearsal. So we would come out and do our conditioning block for 15 minutes. Then they would immediately go into sectionals for 25 minutes in the shade. You get a bunch of trees. We get into trees. All right, so now we're in the shade. Then we would come out and work on drill with no instruments and just march with their water jug. Okay, so they could stay hydrated. Half an hour in the sun, drinking water, whatever they needed to. Now, get your instrument, and we're going to put a block in the trees and we're going to work ensemble music, I'm going to be on the ladder in the sun while you're in the shade. What does that tell my students? I care about them enough that they're in the shade and I'm not, because they're the ones that have to march. I just have to be hold and listen and give them helpful information, right? All right, so we do that for half an hour. Then we drink some water, leave our water jugs, and we come out and we do synthesis, ensemble music, and drill for half an hour. And in the middle of that, in and out water, get a drink. So I break it into smaller chunks. That helps take better care of them. So their thought one is, oh my gosh, I'm burning alive. It's, oh cool, we sound better, we look better. I tend to think in terms, a lot of people talk about 10-minute lessons. I think those are too long. I think in terms of 5-minute lessons or 3-minute lessons. Because you can get any kid, like the worst kid in your program, worst behaved kid or the least engaged kid, mom's making them being there because, my God, we paid for this loop, you're going to be in there until you graduate. You ever march next to that person? Yeah. So, even that person will do whatever you tell them for 2 minutes. The key is you have to have a series of 2-minute objectives because that creates momentum. Momentum keeps kids in your program. If it's when you're standing around just drilling something into the ground that's really not getting better, it's like you're looking in your rearview mirror like, what's that? Oh, that's the point of diminishing return, getting farther and farther. I mean, at a certain point you have to say, okay, that's not where it needs to be yet. I appreciate your effort. We're coming back to that tomorrow. Let's move on. That's an important thing to remember. Acknowledge the effort, set the expectation for tomorrow, but don't just the horse is dead, stop beating it. All right? So you get that momentum going, and you're taking good care of them in the elements, and they'll come along with you. Yes?
I was finished here. This kind of goes along the lines of this question. What are some things that you can do for a student who's hit a wall or has hit a plateau? How can you get them past that?
Like a musical plateau?
Musical or even just in like school.
I think that there's a lot of value in helping kids learn how to do reflective process. Because I think too often now, kids are really afraid to fail. And a lot of times parents are afraid to let their kids fail because they don't want it to mess them up. Failure is really just a learning opportunity. So, the thing that you have to train your kids to ask is, okay, why did I fail? What of that is in my control? What could I do differently? Was it a mental error? Am I having trouble with this scale because I just don't know the finger pattern? Or is it because the range is difficult? Maybe I need to find a range exercise instead of trying to play the 2-octave B-flat concert scale on my trumpet. Maybe I need to find some overtone series slur exercises to get me up there without worrying about this mechanism. Maybe I don't have adequate air. Maybe I need to do breathing exercises before I do my range exercises. Find out why did I fail. It's not like I'm awful, I failed. Well, why did I fail? Okay, well then I can find a solution to that. Same thing with classes. I teach my students, we do a lot of, we just did a time management workshop a couple weeks ago. How many of you guys do a to-do list? Anybody do a to-do list? Cool. How many of you do a prioritized to-do list? Even better. Because if you don't, what do you do first? The stuff you're good at, or the stuff that you're interested in. And what's left when you're exhausted? The stuff that you're not very good at, or that's hard. Alright? So it's the same thing, it's kind of like with your practicing. You got to do the hardest stuff first while you're fresh. Maybe the student is studying their easiest subjects first, and then we're about to fall asleep, then they go to their hardest class. Do that first. That'll fix that like that. So almost always there's a solvable problem that you're dealing with, but they're beating themselves up. You just got to get them to get out of that mindset. Yes? My daughter plays clarinet and volleyball. Yes?
What advice would you give somebody going into their student teaching semester as they're entering somebody else's program and they want to kind of find their own teaching style, but they're needing to accommodate the fact that the programs are already established?
Right. Yeah, and I think that's really a good way of approaching that. I think the most important thing is your job is to join a team and join a system. And unless it's morally wrong or is causing harm to you or other people, You need to do what they tell you to do. I'm not trying to lecture you, I'm just telling you, to be a professional, that's what you have to do, is find out what the expectations are and deliver on that. Then, the value in that is you can go home at night and say, I don't think I would have done this way. Well, why? And really flesh that out and go, okay, yeah, legitimately, I would do this differently, blah, blah, or you may go, oh, I get it now. I understand. Because you're looking at one snapshot in time. You're not looking at the arc that got you there, that your cooperating teacher knows. And so it may not make any sense to you, but just understand they're in the zoom out view. And so they've got a perspective that they just don't have time to share all of it with you. Now, there could be a time at lunch. I used to do this with my student teachers. So when we go to lunch, ask me anything you want to ask. You say, okay, tell me about, help me understand why it is you approach this way. I want to learn more about it. If you, in the sense of, I want to learn more about this, or I really want to make sure I understand what the expectation is instead of, why do you do that? Right? So you're not creating an adversarial relationship. You're saying, I want to make sure I'm doing the best job I can as your student teacher. Help me understand the reasoning behind this so I can really do my best work. If you'll do that, you're going to have a better experience. You're going to learn more. The kids are going to do better. And that you might have to get the AED out and, give CPR to your cooperating teacher because you'll probably be the first one that did that.
Just have one more question.
Yes, sir.
As a first-year student or a first-year teacher going into a high school program, how would you, and you're going to be the head manager, how would you prepare for the emergency as in go into all that stuff?
I think what I would do is come up with a modest goal for what you want to have happening by the first game, and then backwards plan off of that. That's the first thing I do is like backwards plan a month in front of that to know, what could I do, and allow for 4 rain days because it's going to rain your first year because that's just God's way of reminding you who's in charge. So kind of plan that out, and then use the summer before that to get yourself ready for that. Okay? The other thing that you've got to do is during the summer before your first year of teaching is adopt an adult sleeping schedule. Start to eat green things that grow on the ground that aren't made in the lab, like Skittles. And do something to get your fitness level up, because it's basically a 5-month marathon. So that you're taken care of. It's like putting your mask on first, because if you get your mask put on, then you're ready to go with the season. You've got that backwards plan. That's going to give you an idea, because otherwise you don't know, am I hitting the mark or not? If you've got that backwards plan with that goal for the first game, then you should be good to go.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you all so much for your time.
We're going to continue through our day here, organizing as we go through. At 1 p.m. we'll be doing something else. I can't tell you where, but probably the faculty conference room. I can't tell you what, but I can assure you that it will be band related. And at 3 o'clock p.m. we'll have Lynn Symphony rehearsal where we'll bring Mr. Britt to rehearsal and allow him to provide commentary to us. So thank you for
Yes,
being
sir.
a good sport about the way you spoke of.
Yeah.
And we'll work on those trees.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Yes, sir.
The dining hall is flooded.
It's not.
Who did you talk to? Somebody, it does happen about once a year. Right.
So we were like,
Yeah, it happens pretty much. I remember when the Vests moved here, they were looking at a house at 18, and I was kind of looking at houses for them before they moved.
Victor.
And Jason Zumwalt has found research about the flooding. He's like, I don't think we should live there. And he was right. Like later on, after they chose a different house, that house we were looking at was pretty much. Glad you figured that out.
What's that? How you doing today? I'm all right. I'm a little stuffy because of the weather, but otherwise I feel good. You? About the same.
I always feel like I've made better mistakes. It'd be nice for people to make new mistakes instead of the same ones that I made, so.
You gonna play today?
Yeah.
Think you go change?
I did. Yes, sir, you're very welcome.
I guess.
Oh, really?
And be uncomfortable, so you put yourself in a position for Thursday.
That's awesome. Nice to meet you.
Why is that disgusting? Put yourself in a performance situation.
Yes, sir.
Are you gonna perform like this on Thursday? No. I answered it for you. No. Some of these guys says a lot of the same crap I say. I was cleaning up and I was like, oh, son of a gun, there's Armando's pin. I need to give it to him.
I completely forgot about this. I don't know where. All right.